online marketing is a good place to start to get an idea of how to run a business, create a business, get some cash flow. Because like we've said before, nothing can create cash flow as fast as like online marketing. Welcome to Seven Figure Entrepreneur Podcast, the number one podcast for you behind the scenes with real online earners. No fake gurus here. And today we have the wonderful Rohan Sheth. I think I said your last name right. That SH, you know, it's a tough one, you know. So Rohan and I have known each other for a while. How long have we known each other for? Probably like 3 years.
A couple of years. 2019, I think it was. The first time we met was in San Diego. Traffic conversion. I think we partied at traffic conversion the first time.
Yeah. Oh, I miss traffic conversion, man. I miss events. You know, I'm excited to get those back.
September coming back. We're going to
yeah. Tyler was actually asking me to go to the Dubai one. I don't know what it was exactly, but there's a Dubai one coming up, and I was like, I want to, but like, yeah, which would be sick. I've never been to Dubai, so
I told Dave, obviously friends of ours, like, let's go to Dubai because I got friends and family because I live part of my life there, so I've got tons of friends and family there.
Oh, you did?
So like,
crazy.
Yeah. So have some fun, go rip around in some cars, which we clearly can do even locally. But
yeah, man, that'd be. I just don't know if I'm rich enough for that place, bro. Like, I feel like I want to be like that oil like level of like rich there. Money. Yeah, but I'd just be like the guy in the corner not getting bottle service because that shit is crazy there. I don't know. I've never been.
Though, in my opinion, it's really not much different than Vegas. Like,
oh, really?
Price point. I think Vegas is definitely more expensive in certain realms, like depending on what you're doing. In Dubai, no, because like their currency is dirham, and then like it goes like you're coming with Canadian dollar, it goes far away. Yeah, it's considerably higher priced if you're comparing it to like Bali or Indonesia and stuff. For sure, you're getting a different experience.
For sure,
it's fine. Let's go. Well, let's do it. Let's go for a trip.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not against it. Like, I'm ready to travel, man. I feel like we've been cooped up in here in Canada for too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, way too long. And also, guys, I don't know where Tyler is. He actually just took a 2 a.m. flight last night, so he might be coming in. I'm not sure. We're just gonna go with or without him because you gotta sometimes, you know. And we are busy people, and he could be sleeping. So who the fuck knows?
You gotta adapt.
Yeah, just got to adapt. All right. So, Rohan, why don't you tell everybody what you do? And then we will go back and kind of talk about how you got there and what you did before and such.
Yeah. So I run a company called GrowRev.com, paid advertising agency that we've built coming up on like 7+ years now with my business partner, Matt. So my background comes from direct sales, transitioned into direct response marketing. I actually did affiliate marketing before I got into the agency world. So I went a little bit different compared to what you did. And because I got bored of direct sales, I was doing door-to-door sales here in Vancouver, transitioned to doing in-home education sales. I was selling like $6,000 to $13,000 packages to families for their kids in home within 90 minutes. It was some of the most insane experience that I've ever had. Got really bored of the art of one-to-one selling and then transitioned that to the one-to-many. And the only way I knew that was going to be understanding and learning marketing. And that's kind of how I learned direct response. My business partner, Matt, I met him. He used to work for or live with the guys that I did door-to-door sales with back in the day. This is going back like 13 years ago. And him and I met. He moved back to Ontario and then went from being in the computer tech world to then going into digital marketing. And I think I made a post or somebody made a post on LinkedIn like about some results. And then he messaged me like, what the hell are you doing with digital marketing? To find out, he ran all the traffic for the Olympics, Sky Sports, Tennis TV, F1, Premier Boxing Champions, some of the biggest sporting events you can think of. He was managing all the media for it. And it was at a time where I had just started transitioning out of affiliate into agency, building a recurring business here, and needed some help on the media buying side because I love selling, but I don't like sitting behind an ad, like managing Facebook ads all day. I could do it, but I didn't want to do it. So him and I transitioned together, started to build GrowRev. And some of our clients today are Russell Brunson at ClickFunnels, Dean Graziosi, Tony and Tony Robbins from Mastermind.com. Just to, name a few clients that you guys would recognize. We do everything from information to e-commerce to SaaS. We're getting the call before recording this podcast. We're going back heavily into the sporting world now with sporting rebounded. So we've got, so that's kind of where we're going to be heading towards in negotiations with pretty big sporting teams. And the reason being is we've just been very, very focused at ads. That's legitimately it. We buy everything on Facebook, YouTube, search, display, GDN, or GDN display again, native, Snapchat, TikTok, Pinterest, and we've done a lot in the adult space as well.
Oh, very cool, man. That's funny you say the adult space. I used to slang dating on the adult space way back in the day, you know. I feel like traffic junkie, yeah, everyone kind of gets started there because like I feel like there wasn't a lot of like forums back then, you know, so you start reading like just like weird shit like Wicked Fire or whatever, and everyone's like, yeah, adults the way to go, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll try this. But then you end up looking at dicks all day and you're like, I'm out on this. Like I'm moving on. So
well, maybe what I'll get is on the next podcast, like a Matt to do a podcast with you, and you can ask him because he ran all the traffic for out.com and gay.com, like, and eventually helped push, like, so he ran like talking about like watching dicks all day, like what he did. And like he's got some of the most insane stories. Like those, you want to just have an hour-long podcast where you just laugh about like just creatives and stuff they need to deal with, like go get him on a podcast.
Dude, I love it. So let's go back into your story a little bit there. You were talking about how you did one-on-one education sales. So what was that in home? Like what were you selling exactly?
So are you familiar with like Kumon Learning or Sylvan Learning, like the tutoring programs where so you take your kids, you drop them off and kind of go down that route?
Yeah, I've heard about Sylvan, I think. Yeah.
So Sylvan, so essentially it's that whole model done in a software. So this company taken like the K through 12 education platform. They had the old curriculum that the kids needed to go through, put it into a platform. Now we had a team. So this was the entire insane sales force. So we had a call center team in India, a call center team here. So the call center team in India was like a triage call where it's like it's like this is a qualified lead with pass for a call center team here in Vancouver. And then they'd book us education consultants to go in and do an assessment. Now the assessment was actually like at the end of the day, so the offer's got to correlate to what you're going to sell. We would go in as an education consultants to go and literally just take the kids, go through what's actually going through the entire curriculum. So actually using like a standardized test from the schooling systems to see where they grade based on the levels that they should be learning at. And then the back end pitch was a software, a tutoring software that started as low as $6,000 all the way up to $13,500. And I had 90 minutes to do this entire presentation. And now you got to think, like, I'm going into a situation where we've got two call center teams calling these families all day long. And then I show up at the door. They're literally just wanting me to be there just so the call center team stops. And now I got to get to the door, flip them, get in their house, sit down at the dining table, and go through a 90-minute pitch with them. While doing that, like that was my entire background. I did that at a very like early age in terms of a career, because I was doing that like 21, 22, and like doing $250,000+ a year in revenue.
Wow.
In sales.
That's such a valuable skill set, man. Cause like, I feel like now that's probably helped you close so many big clients. Like, as you said, you dropped some big names there. And I think that people underestimate the value in face-to-face sales. Because once you have that skill set down, it can translate to online sales. It can do it's everything, right? Like the human mind works the same regardless if you're face to face or if you're over the screen with someone, right? Like, or if you're on a screen with someone. So that's really cool. That's something I wish that I had. I have zero sales skills.
It's one of those, it was one, and for me, it was funny because like going back, if you look at me prior to like anything that I did even before, it was something that I learned just because I kind of was fortunate to live in an environment where I came from a very wealthy family earlier on. My parents gave all of that up, moved to Canada, lived in pretty much the ghetto in Vancouver, kind of built the whole thing up. But as a child, I was a very introverted human. Like even today, I'm a very introverted human being. But dropping out of school, dropping out of college, I didn't really have that option. I didn't really have anything else. Like my back was right up against the wall and I had to figure it out. And learning the art of sales was single-handedly the one thing that turned my life around.
Yeah, that's crazy. Were you kind of a shithead kid? Like, is that why you dropped out of school? Yeah.
That's I saw two polar opposites. So I lived in India till I was 11, right? So I grew up in India in a very wealthy family there. And then, and in India, it's like you go to school, like if you're not like the 98th percentile smartest kid in the school, you're the dumb kid. Like that's kind of like that correlation. Like
crazy.
98% or higher, or you're dumb. Like that's just it. Moved from there, came to Canada, and look at the school system here is so different. I still kind of had that mentality till about like grade 9, like halfway through grade 10. And then grade 10 comes around. I'm like, what the hell am I even doing with my life? Like, I don't care for any of this stuff. Like, subconsciously, it was just like nothing that I cared about. Like, I'm never going to learn any of this. I wanted to go to school to be a pilot, which I eventually did go down that route. But I just got to a point where I just turned into an absolute like 180 shithead in like grade 10, grade 11, grade 12.
Yeah.
Like, skipped a bunch, never went to school. Like, my mom literally would get called to the principal's office once a week minimum for just dumb stuff that I was doing. And eventually she's like, you're just the black sheep. Why give up on you in grade 12? She literally said that to me.
Oh,
But
that's so funny.
that's kind of what it ended up being. So
yeah, I imagine an Indian mother would have been really pissed off at you.
You obviously met my brother, and it ended up in a situation where it's like I went through public school, and like at the end of grade 12, my brother was still in grade 6 at the time, or grade 7. Yeah, 6, because there's a 6-year difference. And when he got into grade 7, my mom's like, you are not going to that public school. You are going to private school. And like literally put him into private school just because she didn't want to risk the fact of him going through the same stuff I did in high school.
Oh, that's so funny, man. You know what though? My experience with private school kids, because I grew up right beside a private school and I know a lot of private school kids. Like, I swear every one of them has been to fucking rehab, you know, like private school kids are worse than public school kids. So,
and the reason being is, in my personal opinion, like, great, my brother got to see kind of both sides living with me, being in that environment. So he kind of got a balanced perspective. But yeah, I fully agree with you. Like, private school kids end up fucking in rehab is because they're so sheltered from everything that when they get a chance to test something out, they just rebound hard.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Look who it is. Better late than never. I can't hear you. Got to work on that.
Strike 2.
You're back.
How's it going?
We're just talking about how much of a degenerate Rohan was in high school.
I felt that's what led you here, though.
Yeah, but isn't it like the underlying factor to become an internet marketer is you got to be a degenerate in high school?
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
Tyler grew up in Surrey, so he knows all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and nothing's
what
changed.
Part of Surrey?
What part of Surrey? Newton.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So which high school did you go to?
First to Manoas, then Sullivan Heights.
Oh, I went to Queen Elizabeth. So.
Oh, nice.
Hilarious. It's funny how we always end up with like BC guys on here, even though like everyone's all spread out everywhere else. Hilarious. Well, Tyler, how you feeling, buddy?
Good, man. Good. I took an early flight in from Puerto Rico today.
Interesting. So Tyler, doing his best part, he killed our flow. Basically, so Tyler, so you don't know, Rohan has a very successful agency and he works with people like T-Rob and Dean Graziosi, and I forget who the last one was. There was another big one there. Yeah, ClickFunnels. Yeah, he does it all. He knows his shit, and he's local to me. I've known him for a bit, so yeah, it's good stuff.
Very cool, man.
Yeah. So you were doing door-to-door sales, and then after that, sorry, you said you did affiliate stuff, right?
Yeah, so I did. So I went to school to be a pilot, dropped out, did door-to-door sales. Then I did the in-home line that I was telling you about.
Nice.
And then I got into affiliate. And then I got into affiliate marketing, and then eventually transitioned into the agency.
Nice.
Very cool, man.
What kind of affiliate marketing did you do?
It was all biz off, like funny, like all biz off offers.
Oh, nice.
Old school.
For me, I enjoyed it, but I got really bored because for someone that came from a perspective of working with people all the time, that was just zero-sum game. It was just, you guys, it was like just you and your laptop and ad account, just watching your bank account. Like that's legitimately what it was to me. Like an interaction again. Like that's kind of why I ended up.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think that the agency route is good too, man. I feel like there's so much potential out there, and I feel like there's so many, like when it comes to online stuff, people have no freaking clue what to do if you haven't been introduced to that world. Like it's so foreign. So I think that I joke about it with my buddy Cam all the time. I was like, man, we should just start an agency. We could just like literally print cash, but I hate people.
Trust me, it's a great business to be in. It's a double-edged sword. It's like, so there's days where I'm like, fuck, I wish I was not having to deal with people anymore. The opposite side, it's like, I love what I do. Like we've got a massive team that's like right behind here,
Yeah.
and like all over the world. So it's like, you know, the grass is always greener, but is it really that much greener?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it now. It's like,
No
For
doubt.
sure.
No doubt.
And you just got a new office. How many employees do you have now? Like your office looks 6. I saw a picture of it the other day on your brother's Instagram.
Yeah, so in this specific office is 13 of us full time, and then we're actually like we've already wrapped it up. You come by next week in terms of like filling it.
Yeah.
We're already looking for a bigger office. Worldwide full time employees to the company, we're 22.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man.
What side of like the agency do you guys do too? Like, do you build all the funnels, take care of all the tech, integrate the back ends, and then as well as the ads on the front end?
Yeah, so the way we started the agency that I was telling Gabe earlier is we started with just ads. And my business partner came from the world of just being a media focus, and then we eventually ended on funnels. Then we added on creative. So now we've got a full creative team, videography team, photography team, graphic designers, everything there on that end. And now we're adding on a full CRO and like in terms of conversion. So everything from tracking, optimization, CRM integration, follow-up sequences, all of that world. So we're adding that on literally just did that breakdown this morning with the guy that we're hiring for that. So now we're at the point from time someone's ad to the time someone turns into that lead, anything in the middle we're responsible for.
Very cool. Do you guys have a long-term plan of like just kind of being the back end for a lot of guys who want great content they want to publish, or where do you guys want to go?
For us, the long-term plan really comes down to we're actually in a big transition right now to going from, because we've kind of cornered the market in terms of information marketing and who we work with.
That's
who we
okay.
work
Saw
with.
that.
Yeah. And we're now transitioning, like I was mentioning earlier, we're going. So my business partner, so Mr. Tyler, so he ran all the traffic for the Olympics, Sky Sports, Tennis TV, Premier Boxing Champions, the F1, some big name city, Dubai, Tiger Woods, etc. So now, because of all that we've gone through with COVID in the last little bit, we're going back down that route. So our long-term plan is to go back down the sporting route moving forward.
Nice.
We're in negotiations with some pretty big teams there to take them on as clients. But when it comes to brands and the influencers that we do work with right now, our goal is to take as much as we can, and the influencers moving forward that we want to work with, especially if they've got a good offer and a unique product. You know, Gabe and I were talking about this yesterday when we were hanging out. Is close friends of ours now. We're trying to get them to create a course, but we go down the road of becoming a publishing arm for them. So
Very cool, man.
Create the whole thing, right? Like this room that I'm sitting in.
I think there's a huge opportunity in that specifically, yeah. Because there's so many guys that have great information, they're good at what they do, but they have no idea how to, one, package it, and two, put it out to the world.
Yeah, so that's kind of what our goal is moving forward, is just becoming a publishing arm, because this, like, literally this room on the entire side is cameras, and then the digital whiteboard on this side to just record courses.
Very cool, man.
So yeah, it's evolution of business.
Yeah, no doubt. Some
really
stuff
cool.
comes full circle.
Yeah, and I think like the information space, people like that aren't in it, they don't realize how much potential's in it. Like we were talking about we're talking about our friends, Tyler, you know, and like every time I talk to him, I'm just like, bro, just drop a fucking course. You're like, your first drop, like with no traffic, will do 1 million probably, I'd guess, right? You think like organic 1 mil?
Yeah, easy with their following and what they have, 100% they'd be able to do $1 million. And I said, if you had organic and paid within 6 to 8 months, that entire course business would end up being $1 million a month business. No.
Yeah, which is insane. Like we've seen so many guys just like knock it out of the park with this, right? So it's just a matter of doing it and putting in the time. So
no doubt.
Yeah, really
That's cool. Yeah, I imagine you talked about Alex too.
Who?
Alex on our podcast we had.
Yeah, no, I didn't talk about her. No.
Oh, yeah, she was. We had her on a previous podcast actually, but she was like a personal trainer, did a bunch of training and stuff. She was actually, Gabe texted me one night, and she was thinking about becoming a realtor. So we hopped on the phone, talked her off that ledge. I think, what was it, by the 3rd or 4th? She launched, I think, in January, and by March or April, she'd already done $1 million.
Yeah, which is insane. Damn. Considering she had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, completely cold. So it's crazy once you can put something together, work with the right people, the right contacts, and like people who have, you know, her leverage point was she knew people with good email lists. once they start dropping for her, she had a great funnel, so it worked out.
And just
Yeah.
convert it. Yeah. So that's the thing is like with info, it's like it just really comes down to it's one of those double-edged swords, right? It's like for me, it's like, yeah, we can create our own product internally, but there's so much better information that's out there for people to bring to market. Like if it came to media buying, sure, we've got courses that we sell all the time, but like unique skill sets like Alex or the friends that we're talking about game, got such a good skill set in that world where it's like, you do you, let us do us, partner together and build this thing into an entire next level empire. Like that's kind of what it came down to, and we're doing that right now with an M&A firm, because these guys have done some insane, like they just sold their last company to BlackRock Investments, or Blackstone, whatever it's called, BlackRock, Blackstone, whatever, the big M&A firm out of New York, for $2.3 billion. And I'm like, you guys took this company that was distressed, turned it around and sold it for $2.3 billion. If you can teach that to people that know how to do this, like think about the business opportunity that's out there. So like that's what we're going to be sitting down and like building on how to
I would literally buy that course, because that's like a road we're trying to understand now. It's like building those underlying assets to create value and sell that.
Yeah, it's like going vertically and horizontally, what you need to acquire, how to do it, how to structure the deals, how to get paid on exit, etc. It's like stuff that I'm just like learning, and I'm like, this is so simple, but you don't think about it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
It make you sound dumb when you talk about it, but
yeah, everything seems so complex when you don't know how to do it.
Yeah. Is there particular markets you think in the info space that are kind of like underserved, that if someone has a talent, a skill set, expertise in that arena, that they could really approach that and blow it up?
I don't think there's anyone that's underserved. I think there's really good products that we got our team to go through like Udemy or Skillshare and these ones and just see like random courses, just buy a course, go through and see how the product is. That's kind of a client acquisition strategy for us. And it's like if they've got
cool.
If something worth $37, you put the right funnel in front of it, that entire course of its solid, valuable information is now worth $1,000. It just comes down to how it's valued in the proposition. I think that's where the big opportunity is. It's just finding those ones inside of there and then taking them and scaling it, and kind of going down that route. But I don't think there's a specific market. Obviously, it's going to be based on what's kind of going on. It's also cyclical based on economic terms. Like during COVID, everybody that had a digital business blew up. Like we had clients that were like days away from shutting their doors down, and I'm like, stop, don't react. Let's be proactive here. Flip their entire funnel from where they were like charging for a front end to just being free. And 6 months in December when we're doing our year wrap up call, they're like just transitioning that funnel during the time where there's so much attention. They've doubled their businesses. But it's like just getting creative on figuring out how to do that properly.
Yeah, no doubt.
Very cool. Very, very
I like
cool.
Go ahead, Gabe.
No, go for it. Go for it.
I was gonna say, I like what you said as far as taking a $37, making it $1,000 product. That kind of stood out to me because it's all about, the end of the day, what is the end value that a consumer is going to get from taking a course. Like there's a local kid here, great guy, he's 18, and all he does is day trade. Like that's how he makes his full-time income, and he makes a great income. He makes over 100 grand a year, and he's freaking 18. Like I wish I figured that out when I was 18. And then the way he does it too, it's like, I don't even know how, but it's like with indexes, the market's 24/7. And then, anyways, without going too far into it, he has like some training he does, and he does like, I think it's like he charges people like $140 a month or something like that. I'm like, man, competitors in your space are charging 2,500, 3 grand, 5 grand. And he's like, that's just a lot of money. I'm like, well, it depends at the end of the day. Like, regardless of how much something costs, it's more about how much something is worth to someone else. Like if you think about it from that perspective.
Yeah, the big thing is the result.
Exactly.
The big thing is can he deliver a result? Because if he can deliver a result, there's no reason to why what he's selling for $37, $47 or whatever he's charging monthly. To charging $4,997. I've got training courses that we're running ads for clients that are north of $5 grand, like all day long. I'm just like, it just really comes down to getting that taken care of. There's a lot of the young kids that have done phenomenally well, but it's like I think it's a belief factor too on being able to ask that price point. Because if you can crack that belief, the business just scales. And that's where a lot of the times I want to find guys like him, where it's like, you keep doing you, let me take this and make you 10 times more money in a less amount of work, and kind of going down that road.
How do you go about changing people's like belief systems around that, or is that something you don't mess with at all?
I don't really mess. I do. Let me reverse. I wasn't doing it for a long time with the people that we were working with, where it's like if they really just wanted to focus on being low ticket, we just let them do volume plays. And don't get me wrong, I still love low ticket, especially right now. You know, when people are still uncertain about going back to work, et cetera. There's a lot of different time of market. Like that's kind of what I usually always telling everybody. Right now, free and low ticket works really, really well front ends. But when it comes to now moving forward to where I'm taking, like, let's say if I was working with this kid that's got a, you know, low monthly membership for under a couple $100, I would literally sit down with him and kind of look at what his results are. Sit down with him, look at what the, you know, the social proof that he's got from it, and kind of just get him to start writing down and building a sheet of everything that he's got. So he's starting to subconsciously be like, holy shit, I've got a lot of this results coming out. And then I just start showing him competitors.
Yeah.
And like, look at the results, look at their results, look at their results. And then eventually, if I need to go a step further, one of my personal mentors that I work with is Dr. John DiMartini. And I book calls with him, and then I get him to just completely rewire their entire belief system.
Dude, I love that. That's awesome.
Being able to work and you know, command that power, because at the end of the day, information is one of those situations where it's like, yeah, we like the info marketing industry is looked down upon pretty heavily, but there's good and bad on both. And like, you know, just finding a way to make sure that you're not that scam artist in the industry, and kind of making sure that you deliver the most amount of value for what you get charged. And then eventually, and then it gets to a point where they don't have to worry about sales. They don't have to worry about what the price, they don't have to worry about nothing. All they got to worry about is delivering the coaching and showing up and making sure that they're teaching the right part. We take care of everything else.
That's awesome.
That's genius.
I think too, man, like one thing in the info space, I think no matter what, you're going to piss off someone somewhere. If you're selling a personal course, someone's going to get upset about it. I think that's another thing, like friends we have in the space, like they have a pretty thick skin about it now. Like obviously, you know, it's not their favorite aspect of it, but I think it's just a solid fact. So if you are looking to get in that space, know that someone somewhere will definitely hate on you.
Well, Dan Kennedy said it best in one of his books that I read earlier on when I got into marketing, was pissing somebody off by 12 o'clock and not marketing hard enough.
Yeah.
That's kind of what
that's a valid point, man. Everyone's angry at something, and it has nothing to fucking do with you. It's just your face is talking on the computer to them at like a certain moment, and they're just like, fuck this guy. Yeah. Fuck this guy in his Lamborghini. He must be full of shit. Rohan just bought a Lamborghini, so fuck that.
Who did?
What is that?
Rohan.
Oh, did you? What'd you buy, man?
I bought the Squadron Corsa off of the guys at Daily Doing Exotics.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a sick car, man. It's stupid fast. Rohan really dove in. He went for the fastest fucking car he could handle for his first go.
The fastest, the lightest, the most menacing car possible.
Yeah.
True style. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's obviously, what else would you buy, Gabe? Come on.
Yeah, for sure. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing, right?
No doubt.
100%.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Is this the part of your business you're most excited for in the future? Is just the course creation?
There's two parts that I'm really excited for. One is becoming more of a publishing arm. For because we've got so much data. Like last year we spent just under $50 million in ads, right? For ads. Think about the amount of data we've got collected because of that. And even this year, like I don't even know what we're pacing for. I've been taking a look at our Q2 right now results, but I'd be surprised we don't smash that this year. We did one event this year. We spent just under $2 million in 2.5 weeks. So it's like a ridiculous amount of money really, really quickly. But on the other end, where it's like M&A and publishing are the two things that I'm really, really excited for. We just finished an acquisition on a small end where we acquired another agency out of Australia. Just to kind of test the waters, go through like the learning curve of like, okay, what does it look like? What do the due diligence phases look like? All that good stuff. So we just finished that. They've just kind of got integrated into our company here. And now we're going to go pretty heavily into more distressed companies and picking them up, because we've got an arm, at the end of the day, an agency that can scale these companies, and taking that on, and then publishing are probably the two biggest things.
That's very cool.
Let's talk about that M&A stuff, man. Do you have a criteria that you're kind of using for deciding what kind of companies to go after, or how are you going about that?
So originally when we started sitting down, Matt and I started sitting down with our M&A guys and talking about it, like KPMG here in Vancouver actually just reached out to us a couple weeks ago, and we did some calls with them because they want to be behind us in M&A because they're like seeing the volume and stuff that we've been pushing. It's kind of a double-edged sword. I thought I wanted to go down like the sub $2.5 million business, but the more I looked at the market, the more I'm looking at it has to be north of 5 for us to make a difference. But distressed at 5. So it's like they went from like 20, 15, 20, and then down to 5, and they're like on the trajectory downwards, and then coming in and picking them up. That's kind of what I'm looking at, because we want to, the quickest way to add value into our company specifically and what we do is bolt on, and you can scale your company with just strategically acquisition in terms of paid acquisition of leads and clients, or buying a company for 5 mil, add it on, and now your entire overall portfolio goes up 2.5, 3 times by doing that. And then any bump that we get off of that M&A like literally increases our multiple massively.
So what's maybe like, I don't know shit about this, but what's the difference between a sub 2 mil and a sub 5 mil, and what makes you choose the sub 5 or the around the 5 mil versus the 2 mil?
So we're not going to say, yes, I'm not going to say we won't take on like a sub 5, like a 2.5 to 5 mil. Like it's got to be the right, it's got to be the right company. They got to have a right business somewhere where they can plug into some piece of our company. And if we're doing that, we're more than likely buying the book of business and the servicing than we are buying the entire company, right? Like that's kind of what it's going to look like for us.
Yeah, the assets.
The assets essentially. The 5 mil, I'm also looking for team that's involved, because they've got to that point, they've got a solid team that I can acquire pretty quickly on that part, and essentially get rid of the rest and keep the good assets, and that's how you just kind of keep building against it. As well as just from a cash flow perspective, it's a lot riskier, but it's a lot quicker to be able to make money back on those businesses for us with what we do on the advertising side.
Gotcha.
So are you looking just to hire, like buy other agencies? Do you think about brick and mortar? Do you have
everything? So this, like when you look at it like vertically, horizontally, and then this like you want to go down the route of like there's also like the side level, like the businesses. Like vertically, if we were going in and out, would be like anything in the media space. So if they do print media, that'd be a perfect opportunity for us to pick up, because those clients can be offered social media, which is our agency in Australia, or paid advertising, which is a company here in Vancouver. That would be a perfect one going down that route. Horizontally would just literally be looking at other pieces or facets of that. Sign companies, like big billboard sign companies and stuff, that would be a big one for us to look at as well. And then horizontally, you can even look at companies that are brick and mortar, small mom and pop shops that, they could be, I don't know, like for example, we're going on an acquisition side right now for clients, not for businesses. We're focusing on solar. And the reason being is I want to understand the solar game a lot more from the business side, because there's going to be those distressed companies that have done well and then just got stuck. Then we come in and pick up those solar companies and then add them to our book of business and go on that route. Like I don't think the affiliate world solar is huge, but like I'm going the other side of solar and looking at it from that part.
Yeah. Very cool, man. That's awesome. And are you doing this almost like a roll up or some capacity of that, where at the end of the day, you're trying to build a bigger company that you can maybe take public or just like sell to someone much larger than you?
Yeah, essentially for me, it's a roll up strategy for sure. We've been pitched SPACs like just a month and a half ago. We got pitched by a big Utah firm to build out a SPAC in the agency space. I don't really, they're good and bad.
Do you mind explaining what a SPAC is? Because this is like I'm going down.
It took me an entire 3 weeks to understand the whole aspect of it. That's why I don't want to go down. If I try to explain it, I'm gonna butcher it. So I'm not going to
Cole's notes.
It's essentially just where they go and raise a bunch of money to go buy up other companies. Reverse roll up from what I was explained. This is the private equity company that wanted to do it with us out of Utah, and that's where it's got its good and bad. There's a bunch of cash flow. You don't get as much as owners involved, and there was things that just like there was more drawbacks and benefits from when I looked at it on black and white on a piece of paper, where it's just going down the typical roll up strategy. And going to leverage buyouts, because leverage buyouts to me excites me a lot. And the reason being is when we got into the information marketing space, we got in it from the real estate investing side, right? Like that was the niche that we focus on very, very heavily. What is one of the big things that real estate investors do? Buy a house with no money down. Mm-hmm. Leverage buyouts is buy a business with no money down. It's the same mentality, just flipped on its head. So that's the reason why I was like, hey, well, I've learned every negotiating tactic to help write copy and everything else on the real estate side. I just could use that, flip it on its head, do what I want to do in the business side. And I just kind of create a correlation. So for me, that excited me more than going down the typical private equity, all that stuff. To answer your question, Tyler, on, do we want to get acquired down the road by some bigger company? I don't know. Like, to be honest, I don't know. If the right offer came to play, and, for me, it's team first. It's before money any day. It kind of comes down to it. The team's taken care of. We would consider it, or where it's like we have an opportunity to keep our team and they just acquire a book of business and we do something else with our team, potentially. That's kind of the way I look at it long term. But for me, it's just, what's the next biggest challenge in my life, and I want to chase that. And I think that's one for me.
Nice, man.
That's really cool. What made you go down this path? Like, the challenge thing's interesting, man, because I feel like most business owners, they like chasing the challenge, right? The successful ones, I guess I should say. What was kind of your thought process of just like, what? Like, you could have just sat around, built your agency out, made it bigger, but you're choosing this route. And how come you went that way?
Well, one of two things. One, it got to the point where, as of right now, I've finally built a sales team in the agency. So like, regular acquisition is fully kind of handed off. I don't really have to worry about it that much. Whereas for the longest, for like 5.5 years, I was the only salesperson in the entire company.
Gotcha.
I loved it. So now that that's gone, I'm like, okay, well, I can go out and sell enterprise clients all day long, and it's still going to, but what's another level of acquisition and client acquisition or business acquisition to help grow? It's going down the M&A route. Gotcha. And when I first read, I think it was like 2 years ago, I read a book on leverage buyouts, and then I attended.
What book was that, actually?
I'll have to get you the name. It was by the guys run ads all the time in our newsfeed. I'll send you guys the names of the book. I can't remember. Like, literally just picked it up online and read it. Basics of leverage buyouts. And then eventually I attended Roland Fraser's scale leverage exit event that he was running. And then he broke down the way he did it. It was good. It was really good. It was like essentially taking a fire hose to the face in terms of understanding the way he does business, but it was very strategic. Like, if you understand what he was doing at that event, it was small. It was like 20 people in a room, and he kind of went down the route, but it really opened my mind. And but I realized
Roland's
at the time
super sharp
business, very sharp, but we weren't ready for it. But it was one of those things where it's like, just put that ounce of belief of being able to do it. And I just went back to focusing on scaling the company. And then 2020 happened. And now we're back into conversations of kind of going down that road. That's kind of how I got into the whole M&A leverage buyout world.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man, there's so many, that's what I love about business. There's just so many things you can do. You know what I mean? Like what you're talking about now, there's working with, new people developing their company. There's just, it's like whatever you can create, you can build.
100%. And for me, the agency is just one facet that I've built, and I built a technology company as well. That, I think I can publicly talk about it. Fuck, I'm talking about it. But we ended up getting in a bit of, I started selling Gabe, I think yesterday, when we went for dinner or lunch last time about it. We ended up getting, what's the easiest way to put it? In a bit of a lawsuit with Facebook, because they legitimately just stole the company. Shut us down, kicked me off the platform, personally kicked my company and my business partner and that company off the platform, and then 2.5 weeks later launched on their own natively. And it was against the whole anti-monopolization lawsuit that they're going after with the FTC and Attorney General. We're one of the defendants in that entire case. And just seeing both sides of that coin, where it's like, okay, I can do it in tech, I can do it in agency, I can do it here. It's like, I got a skill set in helping businesses scale, and that's kind of why it kind of brought a whole different world of inspiration for me to go down the M&A route.
Nice.
That's very cool, man.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Fuck, you're a busy guy. How do you manage all your time?
Build a proper team around me. That's
I
what
guess,
it comes down to. And then on top of that is also, I've got a 15-month-old daughter and a wife. So it's like, add that into the life on top of things. So that's why I bought a Lamborghini. When I need to just, check out, it's like, hey, Gabe, you want to go for a cruise?
Yeah, man. But let's do it outside of Vancouver so we don't get vehicle inspections.
My definitely get VI going through downtown. It's no
Yeah,
doubt.
dude. Nobody's safe anymore here. Nobody is safe at all. So I think what I gather from this this wonderful podcast is like, because this is an online marketing podcast, so first and foremost, that I think that online marketing is a good place to start to get an idea of how to run a business, create a business, get some cash flow. Because like we've said before, nothing can create cash flow as fast as like online marketing. Well, maybe selling drugs, you know, there's other shit, but like I think online marketing is a good way to get some quick cash flow. But it's kind of always the starting point in a sense. Like it's not, I don't think like I mean, there is a few people that are just continue internet marketers and that's that, but they always expand. Like most people start and then they end up in real estate or whatever the fuck they're doing, dabbling on the side, all of it.
Crypto.
Yeah, you know, all of it. So Rohan, if you had any advice for people that were trying to get into the online space and or eventually get into a position where you're in buying companies, creating companies, what advice would you give?
The one thing that I usually tell people is like, if you haven't started, just start. Like pick a lane. You know, the digital marketing on the online marketing world, we've got everything from e-commerce to affiliate marketing to building an agency to God only knows what the next big fad is going to be. Social media marketing, becoming an influencer. There's everything that you can do. Totally. Pick one thing, master it. Like, just become the fucking best at it. Like at the end of the day, that's all it comes down to. You know, today, like sometimes I have to literally pinch myself and looking at like some of the people that we work with as clients. Like I literally put them on pedestals back in the day and be like, oh my God, these guys are so amazing. It's like they are now coming to me for my expertise and my team's expertise. And we just focused. Like that's it. I didn't get distracted. I could have been distracted with, like I said, 3 years ago, I went and sat down at an event, or 2 years ago, I went and sat down at an event, read a book and learned about M&A. But I just learned it, left it there, and came back, became even better at what I'm doing to now be able to get down that road. I didn't like get squirreled or, you know, had horse blinders on. That's been the biggest thing that I could legitimately say. The second part of it is don't get disheartened if the first thing you do doesn't work out. Because a lot of the times, you know, it doesn't have to be the first thing. For me, it was affiliate marketing. It was great, but I was never going to scale that business. Didn't have the inspiration or the motivation to scale it. And you guys started in the e-commerce world, and then now you guys in the affiliate world, the exact same thing. And then, you know, we may scale one, it may not work out, move on to something else, and just keep trying. That's kind of my biggest thing. And yeah, and it's kind of legitimately the big thing that I probably tell someone is just believe in yourself. And we talked about a belief part on this podcast as well. And I think if there's one reason that I see people fail in this industry, is more than likely it's just the belief. To be honest, they just don't believe they can do it. Because if the more time they spend actually focusing on themselves, the business just grows.
Yeah,
it's just a byproduct.
You know what's interesting, man? I actually every Tuesday I have like a team management with my main company. We have a senior management call every Tuesday religiously. We do. This week I was literally on a plane to Puerto Rico, so I couldn't do it. But one thing I talked about them today was kind of like something I've been thinking about for the last few weeks. Every level of growth, you don't get to that next level because of you at the end of the day. You are constantly your own limiting factor in everything that you do. Like, you know, we're on a road right now where every year we've doubled for the last few years. And I'm looking at some of the stuff we're doing. I'm like, shit, I could have done this 3 years ago. But it wasn't the belief, or even in the daily operations, man. Like I could become sometimes the biggest hindrance to the team when I start diving in, because I start messing with systems that are in place, and they're in place for a reason. And it's just so funny how, like I told them, like something I've been thinking about for myself for the longest time now. It's like, you know, if we want to unlock $50, $100 million a year, I got to get out of the way for it for the most part in my head. And then in the business as well, I was telling the team, I'm like, same thing goes for you guys. As we grow, the job you're doing today won't be the job you're doing tomorrow, but every single skill set we've built is what's got you to this point at the same time. So we wouldn't be able to get to the next level without building this. So it's funny how it all works, at least in my mind, like a bit of an environment or ecosystem on its own, but it constantly builds upon. So if something's not working for you now, later on, either it would, or what you learned here is going to help you be more successful there
in the future. Absolutely. The one thing you said that I'm learning right now, like every single day that I'm going through this, is getting out of your own way. You know, one thing I've always leaned on is mentors. hours, like just finding the right person, just learning from them, and they don't have to last a long time. It could be 90 days, it could be 6 months. Like just you know, get piece that you can learn from them and move on. The one that I'm working with right now, literally was on a call with him just before this. He's kind of coming on his board of advisors now for our company as well. He built his last company $100 million in 3 years. He clearly knew what the hell he was doing to get to $100 million in 3 years. And you know, one of the things that he said to me was literally, get out of your own way. He's like, you're good at selling, you're good at building relationships, you're good at seeing the vision. Get somebody else to come in and be the CEO, because they are really fucking good at being the CEO. And now that's my goal for this month, is to
that's
come in
awesome, dude.
And they can take the company to another level, so I can focus on what needs to scale. That's 100% emailed it.
I love it, bro. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. Fuck, I feel like we should just end it there, you know? I feel both Tyler and Rohan killed it with some fucking inspirational quotes and some what to do. And, you know, here we are. I'll just sit back and listen.
By the way, Gabe, I noticed, you're good at more than that. I just noticed your background was different, dude. This is the new spot, right?
I moved. Yeah. My office is a little bit makeshift, you know. I'm trying to figure out the lighting and everything like that, and I'm gonna get some walls painted because it's like a good early 90s tan in here. So but yeah, man, in a new spot, moved into a house from like 700 square feet to 3,000, so it's quite the jump.
No doubt.
It feels good. Vancouver
life.
Yeah, you know what, it's funny, man, because like I liked my 700 square foot place. It was simple, it was nice. You know, it was, I could walk everywhere, but this is a different change of pace. It's cool though.
Yeah, good for you, bro.
You'll adapt. You'll adapt real quick.
Dude, I'm almost there. Like at the same time, like we have like, I think it's 4-bedroom here. It's nothing crazy, but I'm like, fuck, we need more space.
No doubt. Funny how that works. Next thing you know,
bring the car out to my space, and then you'll regret it.
Oh yeah, no, I want to. I got to come check out your office, man. Like I really want to check out everything, and I feel like every time we chat, I'm so inspired.
Where is your office?
Come on up. It's in Cloverdale.
Nice, dude. All my family still lives out there.
Oh really? That's sick.
Sister in Langley, other sister and mom in Newton. Not much has changed on that front. Yeah.
No, let's just.
Yeah, if you're ever back down to the borders are opening back up, and you're out here, come visit the office.
For sure, man. I'll be coming through.
Tyler got his like vaccine in the first fucking like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. He was on the team before all of us. The benefits of having
good news.
Yeah, no tails, no nothing.
No, well,
a reverse penis, a penis on the front and a rear.
Nothing's growing, like no third eye.
Yeah.
Nothing I can't cover with a t-shirt, so it's all good.
Dude, the elastic bands on your fucking sweatpants. All right, thank you for everyone listening today. For everyone watching, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube, and for everyone listening, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Yeah, all right, guys, thanks again. Thank you, Rohan. Thanks, Tyler, for showing up eventually. Appreciate you, dude.
Sorry, guys.
Peace.
Thanks for having us.